Okay everyone, the job I'm going to do now is remove the glow plugs from this engine. Now I've already got a video showing you how to remove glow plugs, but that's from a 2014 2-litre diesel Peugeot engine. This is a 2007 Ford Mondeo 2-litre Peugeot engine, which is 140 brake horsepower. The difference with this engine, the glow plugs are at the back of the engine, not at the front. So all I can really say is, if you've got no experience repairing cars, don't even think about replacing these glow plugs yourself. Get someone to do it who knows what they're doing. Because I can tell you now, break one of these glow plugs, mess this job up, you're going to be in a whole world of shit. And I will admit, this is a nasty freaking job to replace these glow plugs. The thing to remember here, when this engine is inside the car, you can't see down the back of the engine, which makes it particularly difficult to get to these plugs. Anyway, first up, there's an EGR pipe which runs from your inlet manifold around to the EGR valve. It will be bolted onto your brake vacuum pump, so you need to remove that bolt. And where your pipe clips onto the manifold, you'll have to release that ring. Now because this engine's out of the car, I can just spin it round. But obviously when you're in the car, you can't do that. This great big airbox at the back of the engine, you haven't got to remove. But the breather pipe that comes off it and goes onto your rocker cover, you need to unclip. Oh, and actually, while I'm on the subject of this airbox, you'll note there's a vacuum pipe that clips into it. And this vacuum pipe goes down to your turbo wastegate actuator. There will be one bolt holding this pipe onto the engine just below the EGR valve, and there'll be a further two 8mm bolts holding the air pipe onto the inlet side of the turbo. I think in all honesty, if you needed to actually remove this airbox from the back of the engine, you would probably do it if you're going to replace the turbo. And I can tell you now, I had the subframe removed from this car, and I literally struggled to get this out. It was so tight. But I'm going to take this off anyway, just so we've got a bit more room here. So you'll unclip this vacuum pipe from the airbox and disconnect it from your turbo actuator. Disconnect your pipe, your two bolts, and your bolt up here. And then you can take this airbox out of the way. Now your glow plugs are buried behind this water-cooled EGR unit. So all this EGR has got to come off. There's a bracket by the cam belt area with two 10mm bolts. The fuel pipes will clip onto this bracket, but it's just a lot easier if you get this bracket out the way. There's a cover which you're going to need to get out the way. There's a 13mm bolt with a bracket on it that I'm taking off. And you can pull your coolant hose out of its clip, and the top of this cover will literally clip off the pipe. And then you can pull the whole cover out of the way. You see the glow plugs? You see them hiding in there? So next up, there's two 10mm nuts that are going to need to come off. And another 13mm nut holding a bracket which supports this EGR unit to the manifold. We'll get that off. Now there would have been another little 8mm bolt at the bottom of this EGR unit, but it appears to be missing off this car. So all we're left with is two 8mm which we're going to remove. Then you need to prise this clamp out, and it could be a little bit on the tight side. And then you should be able to lift it off its bracket and lift the whole EGR unit out of the way and just move it to one side. Now you can see the glow plugs. You'll notice at the top of the engine there's a block connector with 4 pins in it. Each one of these pins is for each glow plug, so you can test them to see if they work. And actually it'd be a good idea to actually test the glow plugs are working before you go ahead and try and change them. So if I do an ohms check, the 1 indicates open circuit. If that was the case, the glow plug's dead. Because I'm getting a resistance, we know this glow plug's still working. But the main purpose of this video is actually how to access these glow plugs and remove them from the engine. And as you can see, it's pretty tight down here when you're under the bonnet. Anyway, the next thing, you need to remove the 4 7mm nuts that are holding the wires onto the glow plugs. And you can now lift your wiring off your glow plugs. Now you'll need a deep 10mm socket to remove these glow plugs. If you find they're tight and you think they're going to snap, I would spray some freon oil on them and leave that to sit for a few hours. Because I can tell you, you really don't want to snap one of these glow plugs off in the head. Anyway, I'll have a go at taking them out. There we go. One glow plug. And obviously you can always check your glow plugs by connecting them up to some jumper cables. That one's certainly working. So really the moral here is, it's not actually that difficult to change these glow plugs, but because they're at the back of the engine, they're in such a bloody awkward place, it's a nightmare to get them out. And you're going to have difficulty getting down there and doing all that. And I'm sure anyone who will agree who's actually changed these glow plugs, they're a little bit of a pig of a job. If these were around the front of the engine, they'd be easy. Anyway, that's it. That's how your EGR valve and your glow plugs come out of one of these Peugeot 2-litre diesel engines. I'm off. See ya. And obviously you can always check your glow plugs by connecting them up to some jumper cables.